She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be threading our sewing machine, but first let me just point out I cut my hair again. I cut it shorter than I anticipated, but I'm actually really loving it. The short bangs actually helps shape the hair, I feel, versus when I had a little bit longer hair. But from here, I'm hoping that it will all grow also more even. And my ends are just so freaking soft. Anywho, in this video, we are going to thread up this chick right here. If y'all have not checked out my last video, go do that now. The playlist will be either in the description box or up in the cards, because that is going to teach you more about the different parts of the sewing machine, so you guys can get very familiar and comfortable with your sewing machine. I also will have other videos posted there, such as things that you should buy in a sewing kit, and also the history of the sewing machine. I mean, everything starts from somewhere, and I think it is very important for us to know where things started and originated from. Plus, it's a very interesting video, and it has a lot of juicy drama. Alright, without further ado, let's get threading. Alright, people, we are at the drawing board featuring Plain Jane per usual. She is a Genome 423S, and this is just an older sewing machine, in which I recommend for anybody who is sewing for the first time. For one, just to buy an inexpensive, cheaper, older sewing machine, but for two, because it gets you more familiar than the newer ones that tend to be more automatic and have just, you know, features that do everything for you. This sewing machine is very heavy duty. It's like made out of kind of like metal in the back and hard plastic in some areas and more metal down here. Whereas a lot of newer sewing machines I noticed is made out of plastic, aka Sergio the Serger here is just made out of all plastic. And so I feel like he is not going to hold up as well as Plain Jane. I went more into depth though about features of the sewing machine and pretty much just the different parts in that video that I mentioned at the beginning, so go check that out if you haven't already. Getting right on into the tutorial, the first step to threading your sewing machine is making sure your bobbin wheel is filled with thread. Now, how we do this is you'll need some thread, usually universal polyester, and a bobbin wheel, which you can purchase for cheap at Walmart or your nearest sewing store. Put your spool of thread on the spool pin, guide the thread around the bobbin guider into the bobbin pin. Now, for this part, I don't have an exact method aside from slipping the thread through the whole pieces at the top of the wheel and then wrapping the thread roughly about 4 to 5 times around it to ensure it is on there. This is something that has worked for me thus far, so yeah. Also, don't forget to plug in your foot pedal and turn on your machine, because you will have an empty bobbin wheel, and honestly, that defeats the whole purpose of this video. Bippity boppity boop! Your bobbin wheel is done. Now, I like to thread the upper part of the machine first before threading the chamber, because it's just the easier one to do. So in order to do that, you'll grab more thread from the spool pin where the thread is sitting and guide it through the thread guide towards the needle. This is how my thread guide looks like, but yours may be a little bit different, so be sure to look at your manual or follow the numbers that are shown on your sewing machine. Once you get the thread to the needle, it is as simple as putting the thread through the needle hole or using your automatic threader if your sewing machine supports it. When the thread is pulled through, pull extra and place it under the presser foot back behind the sewing machine to get it out the way. Last but very much not the least, your bobbin wheel chamber. If you deconstruct your machine, you'll see that your machine has a bobbin wheel compartment / chamber, as I call it. Inside that compartment will be a bobbin case, and this is where we will place our bobbin wheels. Now be sure to look at how you place the bobbin wheel inside the case, because if you do this step wrong, your machine will malfunction later in the game, so we don't want that now, do we? How do I do this right the first time, you ask? Well, let me teach you a little trick of mine. When your thread falls on the wheel, it will form a number 9, and you'll just pop that into the case as is. Once it is in the case, you'll pull the extra thread around to the top of the case and lock it into a little notch to kind of put it in place, and then you can push it back into the compartment. Now do not close up your machine quite yet because we still have to get the thread to the top of the machine, and how we'll be doing this is we'll be using the balance wheel. Just twist the wheel gently and pull on the excess thread in the compartment until the thread comes to the top. And then just like your upper thread, we're going to place the thread under the pressure foot back of the machine. And we're going to close up our machine, and voila! You had threaded your sewing machine. Always do a tester, and if needed, go back and practice these steps because the saying goes, practice makes perfect. Well, that is it on how to basically thread your sewing machine and get started on those little basic sewing projects. If you guys like this video, please give me a big fat thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and also watch those other videos. They are very, very important to learning how to get your sewing machine running. Also, I am planning on trying to make a video once a week, but I'm back in school, unfortunately, so that may or may not happen, but I am going to try it in all of my best interests to get as much sewing tutorials out for you guys because it was requested. I'm so happy to actually be back here doing what I love most. But with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Love you, babes.
She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something about her features. You'll find her beauty goes much deeper once you get to meet her. She's a Mona Lisa.